What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the BCA podcast. I know it's been a minute, and today I got a special guest, somebody who I can call a dear friend, who's super talented. I think she can do anything if you just give it to her and she put her mind to it. Um, and She goes by the name Nique. That's her. She's an actual singer who used to be a former thrower, an NCAA All American to be exact, and and she's from Florida, South Florida, be exact. I'll let you introduce yourself and let them know the logistics, but let the world know who you are.
Yeah, so my name is Monique. I go by Nique. My stage name, music name is Nique. Yeah, I'm from Florida, born and raised by Jamaican parents. I came out here to California as a student athlete. That's how I met you. Yeah, from there, life is kind of taking different twists and turns. So now I'm doing music, left the athlete life behind, but yeah, that's where we're at right now.
Cool. So you said you got here. How you got to California is through athletics, right? So I was going to
Yeah.
ask you, because this is the Breaking Chains Academy podcast. Were you like the first out of your family go to college, or did your parents? Because you say your parents from Jamaica, did they go to college, or
So my dad didn't go to college. My mom, I think she started college, but she didn't
yeah?
finish.
So you're the first to
Um,
graduate, and that was a chain
yeah,
that was broken that never happened. You feel me?
yeah.
That's great. That's great. Um, and then so what was that process like? So let's go back to young Monique, right? Young Monique, and what was she doing? What was the first like thing that caught your, I guess, eye, or something you were glued to as a young kid that made you go into athletics? And then I know you probably could always sing, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Young Monique was always singing for sure. Like always, always. Young Monique wanted to be Lauryn Hill, Beyonce, you know what I mean? And that was always kind of something that I always wanted to pursue, but just my parents didn't really have the tools and resources to kind of put me in those positions. And we really knew no one like who was really in the industry like that who could kind of give us the game. And then I wanted to be so many different things. I wanted to be a teacher. I wanted to be a lawyer. I never thought I would be an
I was
athlete.
gonna ask you, so how excuse me, how, when you were thinking about being a teacher and a lawyer, right? What what made you think like that? Because like when I was a kid, I never thought about being a teacher or a
Mhm.
lawyer. I
Yeah.
didn't see that. I seen teachers, but all of my teachers were female ladies, and I,
Mhm.
and I always didn't like teachers when I was a kid. So I'm like, I'm not gonna be a teacher. But now I'm basically a teacher,
Right.
because you don't realize till you get older.
Yeah.
Like, what made you think like that? You think, or
Um, I love kids. I love kids, and I feel like I've always had this like teachable, like coach presence about myself. You know what I mean? So, um, I've always wanted to be kind of in that role in some aspects. So I said teacher, of course, because that's the most like, linear thing to that. And then lawyer, because I really enjoyed law and like learning about it in school. And I always felt like I had the presence, like to really
yeah,
like, be a lawyer, ask the right questions and kind of, hold my composure in a way that was professional. So that's why I said like teacher, lawyer first for kind of what was on my mind when I was growing up. But then, it kind of changed.
how did things start to change as you were growing up?
um, it started to change, I would say, about high school. When I got to high school, I did track really only for the reason because one of my friends is doing it. And she was like, oh, come with me. I'm like, okay, sure. And I ended up doing it and sticking with it. And my sophomore year, I was enjoying it, doing it, and made a lot of friends and stuff like that. But I was kind of like a jack of all trades. Like I did all the running events, all the
Oh,
events, you know what I mean? Right. But I wasn't like super excelling in one.
yeah,
And so the throws coach on my team, shout out Coach Brown, he was like, you should throw, you should try to throw. And I was like, sure, why not? Add something else to my, list. And I did it. And he was like, you know what? You should stick with me. Like, you're going to be really good. And I was like, really? He was like, yeah. And yeah, like he just saw it in me right then and there. And I was like, okay, I don't got to run. Cool. Like, I'll stick with you. And I stuck with him in that first year. Like, It was crazy.
That's
Like,
you telling that story reminds me of like when I was at Fresno State and I had
mhm.
another teammate, and it's funny because when I got there, normally I don't find anybody with the last name Blue, but just so
Uh-huh.
happened that my team,
What? That's crazy.
her last name was Blue, and she was from
Uh-huh.
Florida. She's from Miami.
Yeah.
She's actually a chiropractor now,
Hmm.
Dr. Blue, and she had a coach the same way, and they told her like he basically like put it in her to make her believe in herself. She wasn't thinking nothing of it, and
Yeah.
she became one of the best hammer throwers in the NCAA. Also came from all the way from Miami to Fresno State.
Yeah.
Like I
It
seen
happens like that.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
It must be something in the water over there though.
Look, we breed athletes over
All
there.
y'all Florida athletes hit me up. No, that's dope. And then so in high school, and then what you end up getting really good, and then that's how.
Yeah. Just like I said, it's just, just kind of happened. He really saw something in me, and like something in me was like, trust him, and I did. And like within a year, like the gains were crazy. Like, I mean, I'm winning competitions, I'm like runner up, like kind of competing. I'm like kind of seeing like, okay, this is cool. But I didn't really understand track until my junior year, until like it was open season pretty much. And like I had hundreds of like letters coming to the house, and like college coaches calling my personal phone. Like it was crazy. Like, and I was like, this is a thing. Like I can go to college
Yeah, and
and
so
not pay.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
And some you never realize, and all of a sudden,
exactly. All
that's
of a sudden
that's
just
dope.
kind of falls into my lap.
So during this time in high school, what was
Mhm.
you, I'm assuming that you wasn't thinking about seriously singing. You knew you had a good voice and stuff, but
Yeah.
you probably wasn't even out of your shell. Because it's funny that
Yeah.
because I remember like when we were teammates, I knew people saying you could sing. I
Yeah.
probably heard you sing like one time.
Yeah.
But it's been plenty of times where we could,
Right.
like, when we was on a bus
Right.
job,
Right. Yeah.
it seemed like then you just
Mhm.
like more reserved and all that stuff, which you probably still
Yeah.
are now. But you grown now, so it's different. The
Yeah.
aspects of everything. Um. So yeah, where we're singing at during that time in high.
So singing, I was like in the studio low key. Like, yeah, I was in the studio. That we had like this little studio at the Boys and Girls Club that I used to go to like over the summer. And I would just go in there and like, I don't know what I thought I was doing, but we were just making songs. Like I was just writing songs and making music. But I never had any plans, like I just was doing it because I always wanted to do it. But I never really, there was no like plan to action, it just was there. I just have it on a CD somewhere.
You got them old tracks or what?
Listen, there I have them.
You got them? I want to hear that.
They'll never see the light of day, but yeah, I definitely have them. But yeah, I did like talent shows and stuff like that, like during high school. So it's still kind of always like in the back of my mind.
Okay.
But I'll be honest too, like when I was being recruited and it was getting to that point where like I was talking to coaches and like kind of very seriously considering going to college for track and field, I almost was like, no, I'm not gonna go. I want to do music.
For real?
And that was a challenging decision.
I know your
I had
parents
to
was
make
on
very
you.
young.
I said I know your parents was on you about that.
I always knew like promised my grandparents before they passed, I was like, I want to go to like I'm going to college, but how was never really,
Yeah.
I never really thought about how.
Wow.
So when that kind of fell into my lap, I'm like, okay, this is how, but do I want to commit to this, knowing like what that's going to mean for the next 4, maybe 5 years of my life? And I already felt like I was good, I was doing good, but I don't love it like how I love music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I felt that like from day
Did you
one.
always feel like that? Because I felt like it was at a point you just was like, it's funny. It's so crazy when you meet athletes that are really good at something.
Yeah.
And then like the people that want to be in your position,
Want to be
want to
good.
be
They're
that
like,
good.
yeah.
They're like, man, you don't even know. Like and they just like, oh, but one thing I can say though, as your teammate though, like you always did your process though. Like you, just because you didn't really necessarily love it, you still put in your work.
Mhm.
Every day you came and you worked and you practiced for a long time.
Yeah.
And sometimes maybe Coach Shoots was only coached you, but no, just
Wow, I don't know why coach like that.
The Hurricanes, boy. But it was worth it though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy that it's like that. I don't know why. That's interesting. So when did you decide it? What was that factor that made you decide like I'm going to Cali, I'm going to LA?
I think I was getting to my last year. It was Olympic year coming up 2016, and Avery, wanted all of us, to go to the Olympics and be able to compete. Because I'd wanted to redshirt the year prior to that, but he straight up told me no.
I'm talking about
Oh, sorry.
No, I'm talking about what made you come to Cali. We talking about in high school.
What made me come to what made me come to Cali? I'd always low key, like I always wanted to come to Cali. Like always. I had a boyfriend who like, always wanted to come to Cali. And
that's what inspired your first song or what?
I mean, yeah. But I always wanted, like, he always wanted to come to Cali. I always want to come to Cali. That's kind of one of the things, when you young and like sprung and in love, you like, oh yeah, we gonna be together, move to Cali and all this stuff. So it was kind of like in the back of my mind. And then too, like, I just didn't want to be close to home for whatever reason. Like, I just was like, I'm going as far as possible. Like, y'all not gonna be able to drive.
Girls, it's like both. It's like from recruiting, it's either they want to stay at home or they want to dip far. Like, it's girls that I recruited and they're like, no, I'm not trying to stay in California. And I'll be like, it's the best weather. You about to be raining out in thunderstorms down south somewhere. But yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, so I was like, I want to go far. My parents were not happy, but I was like, y'all not paying for it, so you don't really get a say. But they got over it eventually.
Yeah. So next question I was going to ask you is what going more into your music, what would you say is your like genre or your type of music that you create? What's your emphasis in that?
I mean, I don't want to put myself in a box because the music that I put out isn't like a full representation of like my entire catalog, but I would say I'm an emotional person. So like all of my stuff is like, well, a lot of it is very like neo soul, very R&B, very I guess you can call it like alternative R&B or like trap R&B. Yeah, I kind of stay in that pocket, but I do have some stuff that's like kind of pop, really poppy, that still is me and kind of resonates with me. But I would say like mainly like you'll know me for like really deep tones, like in like melodic feel, really singy. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. What would you say like is because I hear that in your music, like, and I see it, and I'm like, I'm wondering, like, because I know you got that Jamaican background. I'm waiting for you to. You don't got to go all the way, like,
right.
You can at least give it like a little, like that Jasmine Sullivan,
right?
Like, that's dope. Like, I can't wait to hear your voice on something like that.
Yeah,
like, that's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, man, I got some new stuff, man. I can't wait to put it out.
Yeah. Have you? I was gonna say if you could work with any artist to make a song, who would that be?
Oh, that's a good question. I would say
you could pick two. Actually.
Two? Okay. All right, cool. That's good. I would definitely say Jasmine Sullivan for sure, 100%. I've always loved her. And like, I mean, just choices, like the choices that she makes, like in her music, like in her vocals, like I would just love to just sit in a room and just be a fly on the wall, and listen like how that whole session goes of like her choosing, like, I'm gonna do this run right here, like, so definitely Jasmine Sullivan. I would love to work with her. Her voice is so strong and like powerful. And then the other person I would say would be Drake all day.
Yeah,
like all day. Like
it's a guaranteed hit.
I mean, it's a guaranteed hit. But not only that, I feel like you could just learn, like, he's been around phenomenal artists. Like, I mean, Lil Wayne, come on now. Like, Rick Ross, like Nicki Minaj, you know? So I would feel like I would learn so much, like not even just about the music stuff, but just about like everything in general.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You know, one thing that I learned like throughout this whole like social media upbringing,
Yeah.
like when it comes to being a music artist or when it comes to be a content creator in general, the people that get the most like clout, I guess, or like the most views and all that stuff, it's the person that's like most unique, that's resonating with other people. You know, like even while you know for sure, like with singing, some people can sing, but some people don't got the voice.
Yeah.
Like for instance, like one thing, right? You listen to like Pop Smoke.
Mhm.
Pop Smoke, to some people when they first hear him, like, who is this? Like he sound weird, but he
Mhm.
got popping because he's so unique.
Right.
Nobody sounds like him except for probably like 50 Cent back in the day.
Mhm.
A lot
Yeah.
of people that resonate. And then like, or if you get on TikTok, right? And if people are saying the things that you want to say, but you don't say it, those are people that blow up. You know what I mean? So like crazy how it works like that. But
Mhm.
if people know that, like, okay, I'm gonna be unique with what I'm doing, and that's how you know somebody it's gonna catch on at some point.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Because they can't find this nowhere else.
Exactly.
You know? Yeah. So next question I was gonna ask you was like, what's your creative process like when you write? I know you're a songwriter and all that stuff. What's that process like? What's your how you get into your mode, your zone, and what's that process like?
It varies. So it depends, like if I'm writing it for me or if I'm writing it for somebody else. It varies. But I would say like if I'm writing it for somebody else, I have to have like nothing to do, like no plans. Just sit down and say, all right, you about to write, you know, and kind of if I already have the beat, just kind of listen to that. If I have like a theme or whatever they want me to write about, kind of just sit down and just like, you know, just listen to it on a loop and kind of, you know, figure out what I want to say and how I want to say it. Yeah, so it's kind of a more deliberate process when I'm writing for somebody else. But I would say when I'm writing for me, it's all emotional. Like it's emotional. Like if I have a feeling, then I write about it. Or if I sit down, I'm like, I want to write about this, like, you know, then I'll, you know, just kind of woosah, put some stuff aside.
It's like that Mary J. Blige, like almost, but that messed hard though. Like, man, that's all I grew up on is that because you know people resonate with that. That's dope. And what's the favorite song that you have written? Written. Or one you was like, oh, I should have kept this for myself.
I low-key wrote something for somebody the other day. It was the song is called Milk Chocolate, but for this artist the other day, and I wrote a verse. Well, actually I wrote two verses, and then I ended up only like putting one verse on there, but it was so hard. I was like, yo, like, I should have kept this for myself, you feel me? But nah, it ended up sounding really good. I was just like, you know, I'd already agreed to it, whatever. But yeah, it was hard. Like I was like, yeah, this is it.
If you could take if you only could take three things into the studio with you, what's that gonna be?
It's definitely gonna be some kind of liquor. I'm gonna be honest. Like
that's real.
I'm not like drowning myself in liquor, but
you getting in the vibe.
I'm getting the vibe, you know. I'm tapping in, you know, to just how I'm feeling. Like I'm relaxing a little bit. Nothing that's gonna get me like turned up. Yeah, I'm just kind of, and it warms up my voice too. So like I'll, you know, kind of
people say that. Some people say like alcohol can like, I guess like clear up your throat better.
Yeah.
But I think it's the opposite. It make it worse.
You think so?
That's probably with me though.
I mean, I literally was drinking. But
so you got alcohol, and then you said what else?
Alcohol. I'll definitely say my phone.
Definitely.
For sure. Because I literally I'll type it out. I've gotten in the habit of that. So I'll like have it all in Word documents, like all the songs, but then like I don't want to have a piece of paper in front of me. So I just pull it up on my phone. So I'm reading lyrics from my phone, or if I'm writing in the studio, then I'll do it in my notepad. But and then the other thing, that's a good one. I would just say like maybe like an outfit that kind of expresses how I feel like that day.
That day.
Yeah,
You know,
because
it's like you internalize everything that you want.
I like everything, like whatever the song is that I'm about to record, like the whole everything has to like just feel,
Sure.
like how I'm feeling pretty much, you know. So if I'm like feeling good, feeling great, I'm about to be flying the studio. Like if I'm feeling like, kind of mellow, I'll be like in some sweats, some sneakers, a hoodie, like, something fly like that. But yeah, I would say like an outfit that kind of just matches my mood. Yeah, I don't really be having like a whole bunch of people in the studio with me, or like I don't really need too much.
So I was gonna ask you too, how do you manage like um your 9 to 5 or your job with doing music? Because like one of the biggest things too, like it's hard. People, all upcoming artists have some kind of job that they're doing to make money until that started making big money, and but they always say like, oh, people be quitting their jobs, they go full out force, and it work out for some people.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, how do you manage that?
Um, it's very conflicting. Like whenever you're doing something that you don't necessarily want to do forever, you kind of have your eye on something else that you much rather be doing 24/7. It's always conflicting. So every day is like intentional. It's like, all right, I know why I'm doing this. So there's a purpose for it all.
For sure.
But how do I manage it? It's tough, I'll be honest. But I'm a night owl, so like my studio sessions are always like at night. I rarely ever like record during the day. Yeah. I'm always in the studio like late. And then as far as I would say lately, what the challenge has been is just marketing. Because marketing, that's when people are up, not when people are sleeping. I mean, if I'm at work all day long, like there's only so much I can.
You got the morning for. Like
Listen.
soon as you wake up to go to work, have the content ready at night, and in the morning.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, I've had to learn that skill. I found like little software stuff to like help me like just plan it way ahead of time, so I don't even have to worry like about doing nothing 5 minutes before like I got to do it, like so that's been helpful. But marketing, I would say that's been like the struggle, is just. And then like two, like not only do I have a lot of people that during the day that need me for things, need me to make decisions, need me to come up with solutions, like in my own personal, I got people hitting me up for all different kinds of things, you know what I'm saying? So I got to be constantly like connected, answering this, like reaching out, responding, because things have an expiration date, you know what I mean? If somebody hits you up about an opportunity,
like a superstar already, you got to stop texting everybody back.
No. I mean, I have like a business email, you know what I mean? I have like another phone for that kind of stuff. So I don't, kind of overlap. But when stuff falls into your lap, like, you got to show people like, yeah, I'm ready to work. So you got about 24 to 48 hours to respond and be prompt about stuff. So yeah, I try to do that and kind of always be on my phone, which causes me to literally stay on my phone 24/7.
Yeah, that's real.
Yeah.
All right. So how do you think the pandemic has affected you, like during this time of like music? Was it better? Did it make you feel like you getting back on, or did it
like man, we about to get real?
For real?
I'm not even gonna lie to you. So when the pandemic began, I was so happy to be out of work. I'm not even gonna lie. I was at home chilling. Like I'm very comfortable in my own space, Like I love my space. I can go days without talking to somebody. Like I love it. So when I had the opportunity to do that, I was like, let's go. Like, let's go. That was when I actually wrote this whole project that I'm about to release right now. Like during that whole time. But I would say as it's progressed, it's been difficult. It's been difficult. Like I used to go out, meet people, network, all that kind of stuff. You could link up with people, be more comfortable with it. But now it's like everything's online. Everything. Like my DMs last week was just ridiculous. Like everything is digital. Everything is online. The networking is online. I'm sliding on inbox. I'm sliding on comments. Like, so it's different. And I feel like it's kind of playing into that, like, just social media wave that we have now. But also too, it's a gift and a curse, because you can become friends with somebody by never meeting them online, you know what I mean, and build a connection, a relationship that way easily, and not have to like go out and say I'm gonna sit down in front of you face to face. But also takes away from that.
Yeah,
Like seeing people like shaking your hand, like,
that's different.
right, like we really know each other because I've sat down and you know who I am, kind
You
of
know
thing.
what's funny? When
Yeah.
I was thinking about interviewing you earlier, I was thinking, I'm like, Monique is going into the music industry, right? And I'm like, I was thinking, I don't know why I'll be thinking like this randomly, but like with people in general, there's some like phony people out there. You feel me? And then it's real people, but the hardest part is to find people that are authentic. That's to be around and create, make money, do all that stuff. Then you got people that just now trying to just get over on people, and it's like, how do you manage trying to find somebody that's real? Well, not really find somebody. You're not going out searching, but having encounters or having like meeting people, networking, and seeing if they're authentic or not. Like now with just Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok,
Let me tell you, it is hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. I mean, when I first made the decision, because I moved like once or twice, when I first made the decision that I was like, I'm gonna do music, that was like 2 years ago. And I was home in Florida, and I like moved, was like home for like 8 months, wasn't doing nothing. And I was like, all right, you got to get your life, And I moved back. But when I moved back, I was like, I need a couple things. I need a producer, somebody who can do everything from start to finish, because if I ain't got no music, how am I be a musician? How am I be a singer songwriter if I don't have any songs? So for me, that was like the first like thing that I had to find. And luckily, I already had somebody who, at the time, like we'd never like worked together, but
you knew he produced.
Right. And I'd worked with some other producers, but I'm like, nah, this isn't it. And we randomly met like one time, and I just kept him like on my social media, like, you know what I mean? And like, I came back here like a couple of times. I was like flying back and forth. And I came out here one time for like an interview, and I was home recording a song. Like I'd written like these 2 songs, and I was like, you know what? And I always kind of do this. Like I always, like when I work with a new producer, I always like do a song that I've already done that I kind of like care about, don't really care about, just to see like how they do. And we recorded the 2 songs, and I was like, yeah, I need to work with you, like 100% facts. And so that was kind of the confirmation for me to come back, because I was like, if I have that, then I'm good for a minute until I need people for other things. And now that I've gotten to the point where I need people, a lot of people for other things, it's a process. You have to like just know who you are in yourself, And I've learned like even too, like I'm the type of person, people I work with, like we really have a relationship. Like we F's with each other, like, you know what I mean? But sometimes it's like I F's with you, but I needed that a week ago,
Yeah.
So you kind of learn how
to manage.
You kind of learn how to like, be a business person and be about your business, still have those good relationships, but also like make sure that you
don't be too
boundaries.
Stuff ain't getting done. You know what I mean?
Right.
I feel that.
Right. You got to set boundaries and everything.
So what about like what about shows and stuff? Have you did anything, or are you working on trying to get some shows and stuff?
So at the moment, presently, I haven't done any shows. Like, to be honest with you, I feel like at where I am, what would be more beneficial to me, because my whole catalog isn't out. I don't have a whole bunch of music, you know what I mean, that I can really sing and people like know the songs, is virtual stuff. So I'm like sort of kind of planning like a virtual concert like after the release of the EP. And I think for me personally, like where I'm at, that's more beneficial to me than purchasing a venue, like, guessing if people are gonna come or not.
We'll do some like open mics. Go like,
yeah, I've been to a couple open mics.
Like it's like a big like Black community in LA.
Yeah, it is.
Like little GS bars or something like perform. People get on, especially like they hear you, they're gonna be like.
I've been to a couple. It's been a little bit more difficult, but like recently things have kind of started to open up, and I try to like follow all those pages that I like, you know, like that I like. So when they're having events, I'm like, all right, I need to get out there. But yeah.
Your Instagram grew fast. I remember when you first started it, you didn't have nothing. That's crazy.
Nothing.
How did that happen?
Honestly, so I have some people that do like the social media bro stuff, and like I talk to them, like pick their brain. Like Instagram is engagement. Like if you're not on there talking to people, connecting with people, you're gonna be just there. You know what I mean? Like, so that's one thing I've learned that I used to never be on Instagram. I used to never post nothing. I had an Instagram for probably like 2-3 years and had like 3 posts on there, you know? And like when I was like, all right, I'm about to do this music stuff, I even was still slacking with that for a long time. So I'm like, okay, I gotta be more consistent. But like engagement is everything. Like you have to be on there, connecting with people, talking to people, getting their comments, getting their inbox, like posting stuff that people actually like, you know? And also that weeds out the people who really don't F with you in that way. Like, you know what I mean? Like if they're like, oh, she do music now, I guess. Like, you know, like I ain't really effing with it. Cool, unfollow. Like, you know, you're not liking none of my stuff. Like, cool. Like, you know, you're not really interested. Then it kind of weeds those people out. But yeah, that's really what I've been doing. Like really just engaging with a lot of people, like strangers, but now connections.
That's dope. What would you say? Well, I had the question in my head and it left me. But this is what I was gonna say. Like how would I say, who are some people, or like who are some artists, right? That you not already asked kind of a similar question, but more so like that, who are some artists that you would if you were putting together a project now, you know what I mean, that like you got to have them for this reason. Like, give me like 2. Like, all right, this is the people. Because you told me Drake and Jasmine Sullivan, right? But I'm talking about if you were to do a project and we're not talking about like, let's say you trying to make something different. Like, you know what I mean? Like I always say, like, right, if I was making songs like I used to, there's a couple people I would get. Like I can get Drake and all them. Those is the get
right,
Like, I love
but it's kind of different
because this is them. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. So who are those people?
That's a good question. Like celebrity wise, or just like
it can be celebrity, but I want it to be like not, or they can be a superstar, but I just want somebody like this is somebody you really mess with because of the type of music they make, you know? I know it's hard to think of. I would say Ty Dolla $ign because he don't miss like either. And he cold. He plays so many instruments and he a producer and he cold. To me, he underrated. But
I would say DJ Mustard. Just because I mean, like, just look what he's done with like LMA, like, you know, like he really
he did
made her sound, like, you know. I would say DJ Mustard for sure. And I would just be curious to know like how hands-on he is when it comes to like his artists.
You gotta send me some clips or something. I might can plug that in a little bit because one of my roommates is super close with him.
Oh yeah, I got you.
One of my old roommates, he like hang out with him all the time, like literally. I seen like he was at his wedding, and I seen like how he blew up LMA.
Yeah,
and she started off on Instagram singing.
Right, I know, right. I was definitely say DJ Mustard, because I like that pop sound, but it's still R&B. You know what I mean? But it slaps, like, you know what I mean? And then I would say Tyler the Creator.
Why people like Tyler Creator? I don't get it.
So I would say, look, so I'm gonna be real. I'm a new fan. Like recently, like in the past couple of years, I never really paid attention to him back in the day, but his songs are like magical. Like, you know, like you ever hear something, you just like, yo, that's the most beautiful thing I've heard.
I'm gonna have to give a relook.
You know, like it's just beautiful. Like, I was just, and I've listened to like some of his documentaries and stuff like that, and his whole like process too is really interesting. Like how he sits down and decides, you know, I want this trumpet here, I want Charlie Wilson on the chorus. Like, you know, like his whole process is really different from like a lot of artists that I've seen, and it still works. And it's still, I would say, like resonates. I mean, he doesn't put himself in a box as far as genre, but to me, I'm like, yo, that's beautiful. Like, I would love to be like a part of that.
That's dope. That'll be super different. That's dope.
Right? It'd be so different.
Crazy. What would you say throughout your life, right? What's some of the best advice you ever got?
Ooh-wee. Shout out to my daddy.
Pops.
Don't be a follower, be a leader. Man, I don't know how many times he's told me that one. But like from a young age, like I just learned, like, you have friends, but you ain't got to do everything your friends do. Like everything isn't for you.
Yeah.
Another one, shout out to my mom. Every disappointment is for good. So in life and in anything that you're pursuing, like there's so many ups and downs, but sometimes like the things that you feel like are disappointment or that you're sad about or that you wanted to happen, like sometimes there's a good reason for it not happening.
Part of the process.
Yeah, you know. Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, so before we wrap up, you said you got a new project you're working on. What's the name of that?
Ooh, you about to give me to tell her.
I mean, you can. It's the day I tell you.
I'll put it out. It's almost on the way anyway. So it's called Choices.
So this summer.
Yeah. It's called Choices is the name of the EP.
Where'd that come from?
So the first and the third are on there. So it's like
hopefully the second's on there too.
Everybody asking me about that. They're like, why you put out the first and then the third? Like, chill. But yeah, so the first and the third are actually on there. So it's like choices. So like the first choice, the second choice, third choice. It ain't about to be 20 choices.
Okay. That's gonna be the Oh, that's dope. That's unique.
Yeah.
That's dope. That's what you gotta do.
Yeah.
I was thinking something totally different when I was doing that. That's dope. And then all right, so it's coming, it's on the way. What's one thing you would want people to know about you, or like you want to know, moving forward for you, like what's next and what you're trying to do?
Definitely what's next, more music, so much more music. I've realized how powerful like singles are. That's why I wanted to kind of start off putting out singles before I just drop a whole project. And honestly, I would say, like, obviously I ain't blown up overnight yet, but just the feedback that I've received, like from random people, complete strangers, people who don't even know me from Jump Street, like, it's been really good. So I'm like, okay, like if I keep doing this, and this not even my best work, if I'm being honest, like, like, all right, when I do like stick my foot in something, like, the possibilities are endless. I would say another thing, just people to know, like, I'm a lover and a fighter. Yeah, some of my songs are sad, they're about love, but just like anybody else, there's so many other sides of me that my parents might not necessarily be happy with when I put it out, but hey, listen. Skip that one. But yeah, like just the music, all the music that I have on my phone, like it's just crazy, like how everything just sounds so different, like, and I'm singing about all different kinds of stuff. Like there's this whole
holding back, is you?
Huh?
No holding back, right?
No, absolutely not. Like if it's one thing, like I'm always gonna be, it's a buck when it comes to the music. Like you can pretty much guarantee that everything that I'm talking about in there is true. Like analyze it how you want to analyze it. I'm not telling, some of it is metaphorical, but
you're gonna have to pay for it once when you become a superstar.
You said what?
Oh, back in this album, you're talking about this.
Right, you was talking about that. No, I mean, and I'm
fans gonna get annoying with it, like, oh, but I thought you had this. That's crazy.
And honestly, like, even on this project too, like, I don't know if people actually know this, but the first, the second, the third, I ain't gonna tell you how many tracks is on there, but they're real people, like real relationships that I've actually been in. And I mean, those people know who they are. I don't really gotta say it, but
shout out to them.
Right, shout out to them for helping me make that project.
Shout out to you, but not shout out to you.
Right. That's also too why I had to name it something else, like a pseudonym, because I'm like, I'm not trying to put nobody's name out there. At first I was like, oh, I'm gonna put letters, and I was like, nah, I can't do that. Nah. So
you don't want to know what is it called? The best man holiday type.
right. But yeah, so it's just like for everything that I'm gonna put out, like everything that you're about to hear from me, like it's different, it's me, but it's the truth. Like it's the truth. Take it for what it is and don't act uppity, because we all been through some different stuff. But yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Monique. Before we go, anybody that's watching, make sure y'all go and stream our music on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, all that good stuff. Is and then I know you got the first and the third on there.
Yep.
Go check out our music. Go check it out. It's easy, it's simple. As soon as I seen you post it, I was able to just pull it up.
Right.
So it's real. But thank you for getting on, and hopefully you inspire some people and they got to even know you, and keep on going. I know, like I told you before, you keep doing stuff consistently and you work hard at it. I know if you, especially with you put something in your hands, you're gonna excel. So keep working, and hopefully we can come back when and another time when that album come out.
I'm foreign, you feel me?
I'm gonna be a security guard by that time. So
right, exactly. We're gonna be traveling together at that point.
Yeah, thank you, and have a good day. All right, y'all.
You too. All right, peace.